We all want the exact same thing when we turn on the tap: perfectly pure, safe drinking water. But actually getting that into your glass takes a bit of mechanical work. You're likely caught in a frustrating loop. You want water you can trust, but you don't want to deal with a pile of plastic waste or a massive monthly expense just to stay hydrated. The easiest answer is buying single-use plastic bottles. It feels cheap in the moment, but week after week, those $5 cases drain your wallet and pile up in the recycling bin. Then there's the classic plastic pitcher in your fridge. It's great at removing the smell of chlorine, but those basic carbon filters leave dangerous heavy metals, like lead, flowing right into your cup. That brings us to this hardware. This is the Vertex PT-4.0. It's a 4-stage reverse osmosis, or RO, system, and it gives us a perfect look at what serious home filtration actually requires. The promise is fantastic: bottled water quality right at your sink. But the reality means dedicating a massive chunk of your under-sink cabinet to tubes, tanks, and brackets. This diagram maps the clean water dilemma. You can pay forever for bottled water, or put in the setup effort to install a system. We're looking at the effort side today to see if giving up cabinet space is actually worth it. To figure that out, we need to break down exactly how this reverse osmosis technology strips out lead and run the math to see exactly when it pays for itself. Upgrading your home water isn't a casual purchase. It requires upfront money and physical space, but you make that trade for long-term health and a serious drop in your grocery bill down the road. Let's look at how the water actually moves through this machine. Water enters the system and immediately hits these 2 large vertical chambers at the bottom. These are your sediment and carbon pre-filters. They act like bouncers, grabbing large particles like rust and dirt and pulling out chlorine so it doesn't damage the rest of the machine. Once the water is pre-filtered, it moves up to this horizontal cylinder. This is where the heavy lifting happens. Inside is the reverse osmosis membrane. The system uses water pressure to force water through microscopic pores, 0.0001 microns wide. This pore size creates a crucial physical wall. Dissolved metals, like lead, are too large to fit and bounce off the barrier. This is why that plastic pitcher in your fridge fails against heavy metals. Basic carbon uses chemical absorption to grab tastes and odors, but it doesn't have a physical barrier tight enough to trap dissolved lead. But pushing water through microscopic pores is incredibly slow. To make sure you aren't waiting 10 minutes to fill a glass, the system pushes the purified water into this large pressurized storage tank, so it's ready when you need it. There is a second trade-off. Because that membrane is catching so much debris, it would clog instantly if it wasn't cleaned. So the system constantly uses a small amount of water to wash itself. All those rejected contaminants, including the lead, are rinsed away and flushed straight down your sink's drain line. Purifying water safely isn't a quick pour-through operation. It is a slow, mechanical process. You pay for that safety by giving up a substantial amount of space under your counter. Once the water is safely stored in the tank, it still has one more stop before it hits your cup. When you turn on the tap, water leaves the tank and runs through this final, smaller, horizontal filter on top. This is the polishing filter, designed to catch any stale tastes the water might have picked up while sitting. Because the tank is highly pressurized, the water shoots out of this final stage rapidly. You get perfectly clean water on demand, as fast as a normal tap. However, you can't run this purified water through your existing kitchen sink hardware. You have to permanently install this dedicated chrome dispensing faucet, which usually means drilling a new hole right through your countertop. Once it's installed, the work isn't entirely over. Keeping a 4-stage system running requires you to stay on top of the maintenance. Here's the maintenance timeline. The carbon and sediment pre-filters take the most abuse, needing replacement every 6 to 12 months. The polishing filter is swapped at 12 months. Protected by pre-filters, the central reverse osmosis membrane lasts much longer, replaced every 2 to 3 years. You have to stick to this schedule. If you leave the cheap pre-filters in too long, dirt and chlorine slip past them, permanently clogging the main membrane and ruining your water pressure. Having an RO system makes you the manager of a tiny water plant. You never have to fill a slow plastic pitcher again, but you do have to commit to a strict yearly schedule of buying and swapping filters. So the hardware works, but we need to look at the financial return on investment to see if it makes sense for your wallet. Let's assume you buy a single $5 case of bottled water every week. Over the course of a few years, that constant drip of spending adds up to a massive expense. Now compare that against the Vertex unit. You have a high upfront cost to buy the machine, plus you have to factor in about $50 a year for the replacement filters. This chart shows the cumulative costs over time. The bottled water line climbs steadily, while the RO system starts high and flattens out. You hit a clear mathematical break-even point somewhere between month 10 and 14. Once you get past that first year, the lines separate quickly. By producing the water yourself, you are keeping hundreds of dollars in your pocket annually instead of handing it to a beverage company. Knowing the math and the maintenance, we can figure out exactly who should be buying this specific system. This chart breaks your decision down to two factors. On the bottom, we have your living situation, whether you rent or own. And on the side, we have your purity needs, ranging from fixing bad taste to requiring zero heavy metals. If you rent and aren't allowed to drill holes in your counter, or if you just want to remove the taste of chlorine from city water, you belong in this bottom left corner. Stick with a basic fridge pitcher. But if you own your home and you have real concerns about aging city infrastructure or lead in your pipes, you are in the top right. This is where the Vertex system makes sense. If you have the cabinet space and the ability to alter your plumbing, installing a permanent reverse osmosis system takes some work. But compared to renting your hydration one plastic bottle at a time, it is the superior choice for your wallet and your health.
Thanks for watching. Visit PureNNatural.com to explore our complete range of air and water purification solutions, or contact our team anytime at sales@PureNNatural.com. We'll help you find the right solution for your needs.